What's poppin', yo? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another horror movie, and today we're taking a look at It Follows. And this is one of the less realistic horror movies which I actually enjoyed and that actually did get me. And I'll explain that a little bit later, but what I mean by that is I prefer horror movies which are a little bit more realistic because they scare me a lot more because they are more likely to happen and it is a situation that I could find myself in. But when it's like demons, ghosts, poltergeists, or sort of spirits, it doesn't really scare me because they're not realistic. That's very unlikely to happen, and that isn't sort of, you know, in our realm of possibility. However, this one makes an exception to that, and I was shitting myself quite a lot throughout this one. So, without any further delay, I think we should get into what Google has to say about It Follows. It Follows is a movie which came out, I do believe, in 2015, 2017, and you can watch it over on Netflix, Amazon, and Google Play. It is a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb and 95% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Jay Height, a university student, has a sexual encounter with her new boyfriend Hugh. However, she finds herself being followed by a malevolent force afterwards. So, how the story actually goes is it opens up very strongly with a opening murder, like most horror movies do. But this one opens you up with a question. This one opens up with a mystery, because we don't actually see what happens to her. We don't see what's chasing her, but we know something is chasing her, which builds up suspense. She is acting normal to everybody, saying that she's fine and that nothing's wrong, but we can clearly see that there is something wrong. She then says her final goodbyes on the beach to her family, so we know that, like, she knows this has been happening for a long time, and then it cuts to black and opens back up with her laid on the beach being very heavily mutilated, with her legs bending backwards and being snapped in half. That shit is a brilliant opener because it gives you a question and gives you a mystery that will be unraveled and explained throughout the story. And it gives us a demon, and it already sets up the rules for what the demon can and can't do in the opening sequence. Like, from what we see in the opening sequence, it gives us the rules, but because we haven't seen the demon in action yet, we can't work out what those rules are. So, we then move back to a girl who has a newly found boyfriend, and they go to a movie theater. He sees the demon and decides to leave. They then leave, and they do a little bit of a tango in the back of a car. He then drugs her, takes her to a sort of abandoned car park, and then points the demon out to her, because this demon is like a STD. It is sexually transmitted. This demon is given to the next person in line. So, technically, to get rid of it, all she has to do is fuck someone, but we'll get to that later. And she then tells the police he was using a fake identity, like most horror movie tropes. This one is quite basic. It's used in a lot of horror movies. When someone does pass a demon onto you, or a curse onto you, they normally have been living in your city for like a year or so, and they've been using a fake name, and then they magically vanish into thin air. That happens here. But that's besides the point, because we have her looking absolutely insane, seeing this thing following her, but no one else can see it. No one else knows it's there. No one else is looking at it or can interact with it. And that is gold, because it makes her look psychotic. It makes her look insane to the other characters. And for them to be doing this, it builds a lot of tension because no one believes her. It builds a lot of suspense with, like, who is going to help her, how is she going to get out of this situation, and what are the rules to stop it. So she builds together her band of her sister, her close friend, and another close friend, and they then keep running away and screaming. It cannot pass through doors. It cannot pass through doors, and it can climb through windows. Just some rules that I noticed in the first time it tries to attack her, and it can take any form. And some of the rules do get sort of blatantly explained to us by the main guy, but some of the other rules we can see as they're being attacked and, chased. Anyway, they go to the beach, they then run away because it catches them, and they can physically interact with it even though they can't see it. And You know, she then runs. She then has a little bit of a jiggy time with someone in a hospital. Yes, a hospital. The demon then passed on to him, kills him pretty much instantaneously, and then she has a little bit of a dance time with someone else. And they then go to a pool. It attacks them, tries to kill them. They think they've killed it, but they don't because it's still chasing them. They then walk away, and as they're walking down the street, it's behind them again. And that is an incredible ending because it just ends with the demon still chasing them. They think they've won, but they haven't. It's still there. And this is the ending picture right here. That demon in the background is following them, and it's following them quick. It is catching up to them, and it ends. And that is such an impactful ending because, again, we don't know what happens. It isn't a solid conclusion. It is left to your own interpretation whether they die right then and there or they manage to escape and get away. It is a pretty cool love story as well. We see this sort of nerdy character become like boyfriend level material throughout this movie, and then get together and sort of form this trauma bond, this trauma connection to have a much better relationship. And we do have shit happen to the other characters, like the sister and the mate, which did nothing wrong, by the way. They got fucking murked. Well, they didn't get murked, but they got hurt for no apparent reason. They were just in the way, so they got like attacked and abused for no apparent reason. I'm gonna be honest, the demon had no right to attack them. But I liked it, and the rules were really interesting to work out, and to try and see who and why they were taking the forms of other people. Also, it has a backfire where if they kill the person you fuck, they're then coming back after you. So, let's say, I don't know, 8 people have passed it on. Those 8 die, it's now back onto you, but you think you're fine. That shit's terrifying, because you will always be constantly looking over your shoulder. Even if you've passed it on, you'll constantly be looking over your shoulder. You'll be constantly worried, because you don't know if it's got to them or not. You don't know if they've been, got or not, and that's scary, that's terrifying. Constantly living in fear, constantly living on the run, constantly living on the move is terrifying. Having people not be able to help you because they can't see the monster, but, think you're crazy, is also scary, because it's real, it's 100% real, but no one believes you because no one else can see it. And that just provides so much fear and tension in the characters and in the story, and that's why I like it. I think this is a really good story because of those factors, and it is one that got me many times because it isn't fast, it's quite slow, and it does remind me of that TikTok thing, you're immortal until the snail catches you and touches you, and then you're both dead. That is what it's like, because this is like a human, it walks quite slow. It isn't quick, it is constantly walking, and that's what's terrifying, because it's not fast in any way, shape, or form. It is constantly coming after you, but at its own pace. So, no matter how far you go, it will always make it to you eventually, and that is terrifying. Being constantly hunted down, constantly chased, is fucking insane. There is no fucking greater fear than being constantly chased and constantly on edge due to a demon chasing you and following you. Even if it wasn't a demon, this thing is still in the realm of possibility. Someone could follow you forever. This is like stalker vibes. This is technically still realistic in less ways than you would expect. But, it's still scary. And the way it kills you is also insane. I thought it was just like, oh, it touches you, you die, right? That's fine. But when we see the first girl get absolutely fucking leg snapped, it doesn't kill you nicely. It's not out for just a little bit of absorbing your life force just to kill you. It's out to torture you. It's out to absolutely fucking murk you and sort of end your lineage. It is genuinely insane, how brutal this thing is. And this has some brutality levels to the extremes of the clown, whatever the clown guy, Terrifier. Obviously not as much gore as the Terrifier, but still pretty terrifying shit, not gonna lie. Having your legs fucking snapped backwards and also there was another murder as well, where it fucks you after it kills you. I don't know if it did that to everybody, but that shit's still insane. That is creepy. That is necrophilia. I don't know if a demon can be accused of necrophilia, but I'm going to accuse it of it anyway. If you don't know what necrophilia is, it's fucking a dead body. Alright, and getting off on that. And that's what this demon likes. This demon likes dead bodies, and that is grim. That is terrifying. That's awful. Yeah, that's grim. That's grim on like a whole nother level, and I hated watching it. So not only do you get murked by it, but it fucks you as well. And if that's not terrifying, I don't know what is. So I think this movie is a pretty solid 8 out of 10. The only thing that lets it down is the actors. I do feel like they're quite dry and sort of have little chemistry between each other. I think it's kind of forced with like, oh, you're my sister. But the only good relationship is the sort of boyfriend one towards the end. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this YouTube video. I'll see you all next one. I hope you all have an excellent day, and goodbye. Stay home and stay safe. If you do want me to review any other movies, TV shows, or animes, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I'll get onto it as quickly as possible. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So just watch your back, make sure this thing isn't following you, and make sure to ask questions before you have sex.